Nice.
Good evening, everyone. I was just saying that I was about to say hello to Jace and realized I dropped him on every screen except for the first one. So hey, there's Jace. He's also here
We
now.
made it.
Awesome. Jace, I know that you're probably too young for the reference, but do you know who Tony the Tiger is?
I do know who Tony the Tiger is.
Okay, so you should give us a really good.
They clone.
Thanks for that.
How was that?
Jace. It was pretty good.
You're
It was
welcome.
pretty good. Yeah, it's a good. I was too shy to put Tony the Tiger or Kellogg's logo on the drop this week.
Not sponsored.
Yeah, we haven't got that Kellogg sponsor yet, but we're working on Tide. We need Tide shirts. So we're back for episode 156. It's at this point it's just getting to be pretty extreme here with the numbers, but episode 156. We got a fun one for you tonight. We're actually going to bring a guest in here very soon. He's going to hang out with us for the whole episode, so that's fun. Jason and I are going to talk a little bit about our last week. Oh, audio missed. Oh, Donnie missed your. Go ahead, Jace. Give it another one.
I don't know. I thought that was like a one and done kind of thing.
It sounds like the crowd's calling for it, and it was super low volume apparently. So hopefully,
okay.
Give it a go again.
All right. Well, for those of you who didn't see our title screen is Clones. They're GAR-R-RATE.
Okay, that's fantastic that you did that twice. We hopefully we got that audio jacked up there for you. But so
I do it for the people.
You do it. You are well served for the people. So we are going to be talking about LVO a little bit more this week. We are going to also talk about Asajj, who has dropped. We're going to talk a little bit about World's impact in terms of some news that came out on the painting stream today. We'll talk about the fact that it came out on the painting stream also. Then we're going to get into, like I said, that LVO recap. We have a guest here to talk about that. And then we're going to do some roundtable and hopefully take some great questions related to clones and or Worlds prep. And we'll do our recap of the Friday night fight because that was our basically last week in Legion. I had a couple other games. So apparently people are going to snip that for the archives, Jace. So there goes your chance of running for Prime Minister. So because there's no chance that you can have that on your record. So so Jace, you and I will not talk about our last week in Legion just yet. We're going to get our guest in here, but you and I did get a chance to play Friday Night Fight, which is fantastic. Jace will not be here this Friday. Is that correct? You are out for this Friday.
Correct.
Okay. So,
I am far, far away.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. So Jace is going to be far away. We'll probably be here. Anthony and I might do a similar banter rep that Jace and I did this week. And I will also be probably playing some games this weekend so I can finish up my league pod. I have 3 games in now, which ties Justice. It's gonna be a race to see who can finish on our pod first, to finish all their games anyway. So might be a race to the bottom based on the records that we have currently. So there's that. Jace, did you play any other games of Legion this week or no?
I did not. I got all of my games in before last Thursday.
Okay, gotcha. So you have some league games still yet to be scheduled then?
I do, yes.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, well, we'll talk about our league game here in a second, but let's bring in our guest. So the guest for this week is going to be Mike Dashes Berry. If you did not follow LVO, did pretty good there. Maybe took a seemingly weaker list, maybe by some people's definition, but I think a second place finish at a 100+ player tournament maybe would indicate that weak may not be the case. We'll let Mike talk about the list specifically in terms of his actual opinion about it and whether it performed up to his expectations or beyond, or maybe he just had all the easy games. I don't know. I'm going to highly doubt that was the case. But you know what? We're about hot takes and speculation here. So at this point, without him to dispute that, we'll just maybe go with that. That could be a theory. We'll let Mike discredit that. So let's get Mike here on the screen, coming in now. Welcome, Mike. Can you hear us?
I can. How are you guys doing?
Sweet.
We're doing well. I'm not actually sure what Jace is doing over there. Jace is it's usually a mystery as to like what he's assembling or eating or drinking or if he's got to take his dog out or what's happening over there. So, Jace, what do you got going on over there? Just so the people don't have to ask me in chat.
Well, I mean, Sean, you can never let him know your next move. But I'm building a Lord of the Rings model.
Okay.
I'm building Mr. Suladan from the Harad army list. So.
Okay. Fantastic.
And you're getting on the. My understanding is that Easterlings and Haradrim are like pretty high in the meta over there in Lord of the Rings world these days.
They are pretty good. Easterling's definitely a little bit higher than Harad, but Harad's still doing real good.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And other than the fact that I have Lord of the Rings knowledge, I wouldn't have any of that. I would just go with what's cool. So that I should just play games where I just go with what's cool. I used to play Legion with what's cool, but now I just net deck everything.
Now he just plays Blizzard Force.
Right. I just straight net deck now, so I have no original ideas. But Mike, it looks like not to draw attention to the background, but is that some hobby material I see on that island behind you there? It almost looks. It is.
Okay,
what do you got going on back there?
Those are that's kind of like my painting station.
Okay.
And I'm painting my pikes.
Painting some pikes. Okay.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah. Gotta get them online at least as an option, I think.
Okay. Unrelated, not a chance he's bringing them to the worlds. Just disregard the fact that he said that.
Well, the old Anakin Padme list I have pike units for it, but they're all proxies. So I want to make sure that I've got the actual models because I think that's going to be frowned upon a little bit more. Should they be necessary?
Could be. I will also point out that I have actually painted 2 consecutive nights, like in the same year, which is pretty miraculous. I'm also painting. I have an entire studio, like my entire half of my house is a studio, and I'm also painting at my kitchen table. I'll just have you know. So it doesn't go over as well in my house when I'm starting to paint upstairs because that's a little bit like kind of encroaching on sacred turf. So, but I've been able to sneak it up there and get some painting done. So I'm painting droids, just unrelated to any possible lists that I might be taking. So just disregard that as well. So yeah, just Jace already told you I'm taking Blizzard Force. That's apparently the only list. Yeah. It's we had a pretty robust conversation about Blizzard Force already, so not to foreshadow that we might end up in a roundabout way talking about Blizzard Force again. So can you talk about Legion and not say the words Blizzard Force? I'm not sure. So no, exactly not right now. Okay, so
I think they should just take a shot every time we say Blizzard Force this stream.
Okay.
That could get really bad really quickly.
You know what? For the interest that I still need to click a bunch of buttons, and the right ones would be really advantageous because wrong ones would be bad. I'm going to let Jace take up the mantle for me and him. So Jace, you can double shot on Blizzard Force when it's said.
Oh, no, not us. The viewers can do that. We're not doing that.
Okay, if somebody's going to take us up on that, please indicate in chat right now, and then we'll check in to make sure you're safe at the end of the cast. So might be a little less coherent. So all right, Jay, so let's rip through all our stuff here, and then we're going to get into some Friday Night Fight chat, if Mike's okay to stand by with listening to us prattle on, and then we're going to get into some Road to Worlds and LVO stuff. So all right, Jace, tell people where to find us.
Definitely. So check us out on Facebook at Star Wars Legion Friday Night Fights, Twitter and Instagram at Legion_FNF, and check out the Patreon at the Terrain Studio. There's some cool stuff going on right there, right now.
You bet. I'll just briefly mention, like I said, each and every week I tell you the card sleeves, they're in the queue and they're all ready to go, but they're not out yet. Why? Well, that's because we've been doing a couple other things. I want to give you guys an update. If you ordered a jersey, they're already ordered. Order's placed. They did a really nice thing today. There was one of the Friday Night Fight logos that are on there, one of the many, had a little bit of an overlap with one of the underlays, and so they were like, hey, does this look right? And I was like, oh no, that should be layered on top. So they they're off time for me, so we did that this morning. They'll come back with a new proof tomorrow morning, and if that's good, we'll get printed right away. But it was really nice that they caught that, because I can't see it on their digital renders because the layering's a little bit different than when they go to actual prototype. But everything's good. They got it. They're all paid, and we're just going to have those done, and then they will FedEx them out. So still anticipated to be here well before the departure of me, at least for Adepticon. So hopefully that will all go according to plan. They look good. I like them. I can't wait to get them in hand. So the other thing, that if you're not familiar or you wanted to know, the tokens, they're here. They're in hand. The order is going to go in for the patrons. These are my personal set here. Patron order goes in at the end of the month. So if you're not in on the tokens and you want to be, go check out the Patreon. Just keep in mind when you go there, the price is inclusive of the top tier, the Patreon, the tokens, and the shipping to you in the United States or Canada, and that's why the price is what it is. But that takes care of the perk, the shipping, and the level perks as well. So if you guys want to get in on those, they're super top quality. I think you guys will not be disappointed. The logos are on the back, logos on the front, nice and big so you can see them from a distance, and there's no mistaking them on camera. So we have that. We want to thank all the folks that have been helping us out with the donations. You guys are amazing patrons, past and present, as well as our current string of donators. You guys are helping us creep up this latest basically I guess perk or support that we're looking for, and that's adding that PTZ bird dog camera so that we can do all the cool things on our end in the form of zooming in, panning, tilting. You can see when Jason and Anthony sort of walk away on the table, and that's that steaming salt walk that they sometimes do. Right now you guys don't see that. You just see them disappear. I'm going to follow them. We're going to get all the details. We'll be up in their face. We'll be like the ESPN of Legion, capturing all the moments, including some of maybe our behind-the-scenes arguments that we get into on occasion. So if you want to get into our league that we have running as well, Mike's actually in the league, so I didn't get an update from him. We'll have to chat about that. I forgot that Mike came back for this round. So we'll get maybe an update on that, where he's at. But if you are playing in the league, and I see a bunch of people in chat already, the league is started. I think we're running it for another 3 weeks or 3.5 weeks, I think. So we're about midway through. So make sure you guys are getting your games in. And if you want to just jump on the Discord and watch live games, there's almost a live game every night or every other night, it seems. So you can always jump into the chat and chat with the players. Sometimes they'll let you chat along with them. Sometimes it's just kind of a silent watch. But if you guys want to check that out, it's super fun. I usually go and just sort of give my analysis whether it's wanted or not. But it's super fun. If you're checking out the Patreon, you'll notice that I was doing a little bit of basing work. I have another video to upload. I was doing a bit of painting, and so this is all coinciding with me getting some more units potentially ready for Worlds, because it's only 44 days away, or at least till I leave. Good morning, Patrick, by the way. So you can jump over there and do that. I'll be doing some other short clips up as well. I did a little bit of a longer video not too long back, so go check that out. It's on there. And then Friday Night Fights, of course, we do that each and every Friday, or as many Fridays as we possibly can. Jace and I played this last one, which is going to be the subject of our last week in Legion. So we're going to get into that right now. But if you want to come back, check us out on Fridays, or I think we have 77 episodes now in the YouTube channel. By the way, we just crested 6,000 subscribers on the Terrain Studio channel, so that's a number. It's more than one and less than 10,000. So we'll creep up and see how close we can get there. But 6,000 is pretty cool, and I think we're going to be cresting maybe 500 videos on the channel here pretty soon. So I'm not going to count up all the minutes, but that's a lot of minutes in front of cameras, which is fun. I enjoy doing it. So, okay, Jace, let's get into this little bit of a recap here.
You bet.
I took up Anthony's position at the table for a week, episode 78. You ran the same lists, and if people weren't familiar, you want to just quickly recap your list for the viewers at home?
Yeah, so my list is my league list, focused on 2 Shadow Collective buses. Both have Link Targeting Array and the Quad Laser and the Gonk Droid. One of them has the Frenzied Gunner and the Tactician, and then the other one has the Raiding Party Leader and a Medic. That was kind of a bad upgrade. Hasn't been that useful, but that's fine. We got 3 Swoop Bikes, all with comms jammers, which I came in a little bit with the droid hordes, but not as much as I really needed. 2 naked pikes, and then 2 fully kitted out Black Suns with the Vigo, the Enforcer scopes, and frag grenades.
Right. I'd normally call this like murder bus list. It's pretty good. It was kind of like coming up just a little bit short against the list that I sort of posed against it. I wasn't like specifically looking for a counter bus list. I was just looking for something that was kind of like counter armor, counter bikes. And so I came up with this list for the last episode that we had a Kalani in here. I probably could have used aggressive tactics on here, but I didn't have the points in this particular build. But a naked Kalani, 2 PK B1 units, 2 loaded out B2s with the T-Series emergency transponders and the HA, 2 ion spiders with emergency transponders, defensive protocols, and the ion cannon. Probably could have done without emergency transponders on them. Wasn't that valuable. Might have been okay for a name, but and then I ran 2 Magna Guards with Into the Fray, situational awareness, and the rocket. Into the Fray I think is good for proccing, but there wasn't a lot of like everything that got close in this game, whether it was mine or Jace's, just got eviscerated too quickly to really matter. So it was a lot of like, here I am and here I'm now no longer standing type approach in the game, including some B1s getting blasted down to unit leaders, which subsequently was actually quite handy for me. So
that was just a little annoying.
We won't tell you the whole game in the interest that we would like you to go check out episode 78, but I do want to point out the fact that we got an entire table. This donation came in like literally the day before from Corvus Terrain. And so if you guys haven't seen these buildings, these kits were awesome. Me and Jace were really stoked about the quality of the prints that came in, and the builds were quite unique. A lot of interiors, movable doors, window shutters, all that sort of stuff. The ability to stack up and change the levels on the buildings, also cool. Everything seemed quite playable, including the platforms had a lot of real estate on there, and we didn't really have a lot of interaction with the elevation on this particular table in this particular game, I should say. But it's definitely there, and I think the versatility is going to be quite awesome. So if you want to see it played, or if you want to see these lists match up against each other, we kind of went smashy in the KP mission. We didn't
KP on hemmed in, so we were there quick.
Yeah, we chose not to use a lot of the table and played more of a skirmish style. I guess we were kind of like pseudo proxying, playing the new kill team format, just on a real but with 800 point lists. So it was pretty fun. I had a fun time playing. I always like getting on the other side of the camera and rolling some digital dice. The app was pretty nice to I think both of us in many cases, but might have been a bit friendlier to me on the attacks and a little less friendly to Jace on the defense. But
it was very unfriendly on the shields.
Yes, yeah, the shield regeneration. That I think even paint would have might helped you on this game. There's a lot of fails on the regens for gonks. So, go check it out. Episode 78. It's in the queue. You guys can check it out and let us know what you think. There's a few comments on there, but we always appreciate those comments on those videos. So. Whether it's a quality thing or a quality of viewership, I should say. If you want to see something, if it would be more beneficial to have a particular element, let us know. We're always looking to improve on each episode. So, okay, well, how did I do? 20. All right, good. I got through that in 20 minutes. So let's get into all the rest of the things here that we have going on. So. First up, I want to just confirm here that Pally is officially regretting missing this live stream. So each and every week we check in where Pally is. He's somewhere in the streets, but regrettably is not particularly in this street here. So won't be joining us tonight, but I'm sure he'll have some comments about the episode later on. So. All right, let's jump in. We got Mike, we got Jason, we got me on the screen. This screen's really about me and my sort of journey to Worlds, although Mike will be participating in Worlds and Jace will not be. But that's that. Regrettably, he'll be living vicariously through the live stream. So
I will.
44 days left, at least until I leave. And last week I gave you the to-do list. I am very happy to report that I have somewhat made progress on point number 1, and I have elected not to be bringing GAR and not to be bringing Rebels. So I have now narrowed this down to 3 possible factions, and that is where my progress stops. So I've made a lot of lists, but this says make a list, so I've failed to accomplish that. Paint and base a list. I am painting and basing, but it's multiple units in multiple factions, and simultaneously Big Jace is painting one army and Frank's painting another, and I'm working on another And so it's a collective effort in this waffling process. Waffle, I have officially accomplished that, although it's not really on there as something to do. And then pack said list, that might happen, but I also might just bring 3 armies. So I don't know. Mike, when does the list officially due for Worlds?
I don't think there's an official.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, are they officially due?
Just because I'm pretty sure that if like a unit were to be released the Thursday before Worlds, it's technically legal.
Okay.
So yeah. I expect that it'll be day of.
Nice. Striker is pointing
9 a.m. the morning of.
Striker, the only problem with this is I've already ordered my new jersey, so I can't really change average to Waffle House, but you can unofficially, use that nickname. That's fine. Chat seems to think that I'm going to go to CIS, so wait till we get to Roundtable, and you guys can maybe provide me with some insight and some help there. So 44 days to Worlds. I don't know if I'm the only one in the waffle camp. I'm gonna guess there's probably a few other people in the queue of waffling. There might be some hard solidifiers at this point, but I am not one of them. So to be continued. I will give you guys the update next week as to where I'm at. Gonna guess it's probably gonna be very similar.
I do find it sort of interesting that you have axed the worst faction and the best faction off the list.
Yes, that's so. But Mike, I think with the nickname of average, would that not simply be the best option for me? Like I shouldn't be skewing hard on one or the other. So yeah,
it seems to play into the theme here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can't be back in the worst or the best. I mean, technically, I could take the best faction and be the worst pilot too. So that could also be a factor there. So, why isn't a visit with the U.S. border security on that list? That is.
Yeah, that is fair.
That is quite accurate. I'm not sure if you know that story, Mike, or not, but I had a little bit of trouble getting to Dallas. When I went down there, one, because my haircut apparently made me military, even though I told them I'm a principal. They seemed to they didn't listen to that and just told me what occupation I had. And then I tried to declare the fact that I was bringing all the equipment that I personally owned. They basically labeled me as a used electronics salesman, even though I told them I was going to be bringing all of that material back with me. I tried to explain to them that I had a YouTube channel for the last 12 years, so it's not like they were like, well, no one owns that much electronics and travels with them. I'm like, well, I do. And then I had to convince them that I wasn't getting paid or working while I was there. And I explained to them again, I'm a school principal. And then they finally let me go after confirming how many subscribers I had on YouTube, and told me to fill out a document that when I came back to Canada, I confirmed doesn't actually exist. So I think they were just trying to give me a hard time on that. But I will be more prepared this time. I will not be bringing as many electronics, and I'll see if I can successfully get in and out of the country without being detained. So
$200 well spent on my part.
That's pretty crazy. My only interaction at the border has been the Canadian. I guess, are they technically police, or I don't know exactly what they are, but the border guys, they're much worse than the U.S. ones, I think. But maybe that's because I'm a U.S. citizen, and the U.S. people are like, okay, you've got a U.S. passport, come right back in.
Yep, that's fair.
Yep,
yeah.
Yep. The U.S. ones have been bad to me too.
Yeah, it's
apparently I'm a drug smuggler.
Well, I mean, if the shoe fits, I guess, Jace. Jace shouldn't. He shouldn't travel. Apparently, I think they just pick you out of a crowd. So, yeah. The problem is I always get randomly selected for these random screenings, and it's just like, yeah. It's when I came back, I got randomly COVID tested, and that was a thing. But the thing is, they COVID tested me and then just let me get on the plane without even telling me what the results were. So I'm not really sure how that worked either. So yeah. Oh, we totally mean kid snacks for sure. So.
Yo, 100% kid snack.
All right. Well, let's jump into a couple things from actual AMG news. So if you guys didn't know, there was a paint stream today, and if you didn't know, in the paint stream they told you that Blizzard Force is going to be not nerfed for Worlds. So a couple thoughts on that. First off, Mike had a hot take reaction there. Good thing we have that's why we have video quality here. First off, I get it. All the streams are fantastic, and I don't want to be naysaying on content. But as much as this can say, let's paint Asajj Ventress from Star Wars Legion, just give us a tweet that says, similar, like, there will be no changes for worlds, or, it doesn't have to be specifically themed to Blizzard Force, but we'll have no rules update, no list changes. Something I didn't know that information came out in the paint stream. Someone told me it was out. Then I asked them where it was. They confirmed it was from the paint stream. And being I didn't go watch it because I didn't have time before, so I can't officially confirm that was said in there, but I think the source is pretty credible, and I think I've seen it enough.
Confirm that it was
fair
said
enough.
In there.
In enough.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah.
So Mike's got it. He confirms it for us, but it's just a thing. I would just love it to be somewhere else. Have it in the paint stream, fantastic. Like, share all your news on all your platforms in all your ways, no problem. But just don't put it in the paint stream only. It would just be my technical request. And maybe I'm just solo in the fact that I find that annoys me slightly, but maybe not. But
you're certainly not.
Fair enough. I sort of was hedging that I was leaning towards I might be correct on that. But so let's react to the fact that we won't talk about Asajj in this one. We got a screen coming up for that. But what are you thinking, Mike, about the non change or the fact that we're going to live in you just faced Blizzard Force maybe multiple times. We're going to live in the world where it is as it is, and we're moving forward from there.
I think a few things. Like, the list is not unbeatable, I think, in the hands of the average player, which I think is probably where they're looking at this from. So I think that's important to know. I actually do think that the list is decently hard to pilot well, at least. It's, having 4 bikes that don't have great order control is difficult to do if you haven't played the list 30 times.
Right.
However, when you start putting that list in the hands of people that do know what they're doing, it poses a problem. It's kind of like, what can the top 1% do with things? I think that this is a mistake, and I think it's unfortunate, but it sort of is what it is, and we're gonna have to live with it. And yeah, I mean, I think we can build lists to try and beat Blizzard Force, and there are definitely probably, I think, 2 or 3 that can maybe hold like a 45-55 average matchup against it. But I think most competitive players are just going to end up being on Blizzard Force unless we all make like some sort of blood pact before we go.
Yes, I'm prepared. Although my army may not have actual blood, so I might have to maybe it's oil and blood if I'm running some CIS. But yeah. I'm not going to bring anybody who bleeds in that list. So that's I'll bleed models. That's if that's the equivalent for sure. So those B1s tend to melt fast. But let me ask you this, Mike, before we move on to kind of talking about Asajj and getting into LVO. But and maybe this will coattail on the LVO conversation. If you were waving around the magic wand, what are you doing to Blizzard Force to not make sure that no one takes it because you're going to hit it so hard? What changes are you going to make it to kind of bring it back into let's say equal threshold with some of the other lists out there?
Yeah, so I've had this conversation I don't know how many times, pretty much at this point. This is kind of like what everybody's talking about in the back rooms on Discord, right?
Yep.
And I think there are 2 changes that I think both only hit Blizzard Force, and that I don't think Empire, at least the units in Blizzard Force, need to be nerfed outside of Blizzard.
Right.
So the two things I would do is I would increase the HRUs 10 points. There were just mini Death Troopers that are super cheap, which is absurd. Those units are way too cheap. And then I think the other thing that I would do is I would just take Operative Vader out of the Force. You can still take Commander Vader. Commander Vader was on Hoth. He was part of Blizzard Force, whatever. But it's not even really thematic that Operative Vader is in the list. It would sort of be allowing Operative Luke in the Echo base list. I think, so Operative Vader is kind of the problem. I think to some extent, we're not seeing Commander Vader burst of speed be like a big thing, and I do think those lists are a lot more manageable. So
yeah, I'm actually running. I ran the op list, and then I am running the commander list right now with burst of speed. I wanted to play as many variants of Blizzard Force so that I could be on one end, and then if I was on the receiving end, kind of hope to know what it does well, its range bands, where it can threaten from, what its threats are. It's kind of one of my approaches to playing lists. Same thing with the bus, right? If I'm not taking the bus and I run up against it, I want to know what to do, what it's trying to do to me, kind of thing. So, yeah, I don't disagree on any of those statements about I think if you are going to hurt it, you got to hurt Blizzard Force itself. Still make it like viable. We've talked about maybe losing a bike slot. I've seen people do that. I think that maybe touches the flavor of the list a bit too much. I don't know why Op Vader was in there to start with, but that's where we're at right now. But I don't think taking that out would again change the flavor too much. You still get your Vader option. It's just a slightly different one.
Speed 1 HRUs.
Yeah, unhindered speed. Unhindered speed.
The whole point
HRUs is crazy.
Yeah. The whole point is you're a heavy response unit. You are heavy. Just they're slow. They're methodical. They keep up with the snows.
Yeah, except when they go speed 3.
Except for when they speed 3 through a woods.
Yeah.
Just make all the trooper options speed 1, including like the EWebs and stuff. Yeah, I mean I think that would be thematic for sure.
Yeah.
I think my issue with everything that we're seeing here overall is that like all of the options that are on the table don't actually take development time. They don't really take a lot of thought. It's just like change the document just like you changed like the CRB with the forum stuff. Like it's all you have to do is make an edit. This is a no-brainer, and I don't understand why they're like I don't know how much you know about the stream, but they basically were like, we're not going to devote development time to nerfing Blizzard Force, which seems like a cop-out to me. But
okay, cool. Well, I'm glad you said it because I was gonna ask your opinion. You as well, Jace. I was gonna say like, what is the rationale for not wanting to kind of go at this? And I didn't get the chance to watch the stream today. I'll watch it because I want to see what Asajj looks like, but I do I am interested to know why there is no change, because here's the thing: are you extrapolating out that there will be no change to Blizzard Force? Because I've seen some people speculating, they were kind of thinking there will be no change to Blizzard Force pre-Worlds. But what you just said and how I heard that, I feel like that sounded like we aren't going to bother doing anything to Blizzard Force.
So sorry, let me I guess like edit my statement a little bit. Okay. They said that they do not have time in their development schedule before Worlds.
Okay, gotcha.
To handle it. Basically, they can't devote it in the next, what is it, like a month and a half.
And you were saying you could do it in 5 minutes. You're like the fact not that you could do it, but just like
give me a PDF and Adobe Acrobat.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I literally like if they just need somebody to edit the document, like I can do that. Just send it to me. Yeah. I'll do it. I'll email it back to you in 5 minutes. Upload it to your website. Problem solved. I understand that with like LFL licensing and stuff, there might be some additional hurdles obviously. But if they didn't want to change it right before, I see Striker in the chat saying they didn't want to change it right before Worlds. That's bull. They just changed the entire rule set.
Yeah, well, I somebody said that earlier today, and I promptly fired back and be like, hey, 9 days before LVO, they changed the rule set. I know it's not a change. Yeah. Whatever, I'm not getting into nuances of that. They changed the rules. It was a different Legion that I played 9 days previous to the 16th, and it was it's a different Legion that I played 9 days post the 16th. So it's a change, however you wanted it to characterize that. But I'm agreeing with you, Mike. Like at the moment you make a change, that's just implemented. So whether you choose 44 days from now or 46 days from now to say we'll change it after that, or we'll change it now, or we'll change it next week, I would be okay with any of that. We would live with it. We all adjusted with the change in Legion. We would adjust with a points change or a nerfing or a not nerfing or whatever. I mean, I would rather live in a realm where I might have to be on my toes a little bit more frequent. Like this gets changed, that gets changed. Like they're altering this points is going up. I'm okay to be responsive in Legion. And I would like the game to be equally responsive. I guess is kind of what if I had my wish. But it doesn't make me hate the game. It doesn't make me like it less or anything like that. I don't extrapolate that from my statement. It's just I think if you're willing to look at it later or change it because you think it needs a change, then I don't really know why we wait. And again, I'm not them, and I don't have the the ability to say, well, stop doing this and do that. I mean, I know that's not how everything works, but Mike's pointing out that maybe the changes aren't that drastic, and maybe they wouldn't take that much developmental time. So maybe they could just have a group think tank.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really depends. Like it's very possible they're not looking at this the same way that we are. Maybe the changes that they have on the table internally are very different than kind of like the easy changes that I think most of the competitive community is kind of like been drawn to at this point. Like those things obviously could be different, right? Like we don't make the game, like who knows? But there are definitely easy solutions that I think are easy wins here that would not be hard to implement.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, well, it doesn't matter. It's like at this point, it's the equivalent of beating a dead horse. A Blizzard Force will exist. We will adjust. We will likely face it in one or more of the games, depending on how far you go. Maybe I'll face it in one of my 3 before I scrub out. Maybe I won't, or maybe I'll just take it and then they'll be like, yeah, sure, yeah, I ran against Blizzard Force. Yeah, I used it 3 times, killed myself with it. There's all kinds of things you can take to Worlds, so and likely see some. So you went against, and we'll get to that in a second, but I think at my count you went up against Blizzard Force twice, Mike. Is that right? At LVO?
I did.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, and we'll talk about those results as we go here. So let's hit the other quick Twitter feed that we'll have out, and we're gonna go back to Asajj. So this is just basically us previewing that. Hey, we did get both a painting stream, and obviously on the February 6th they gave us this preview, which looks really cool, by the way. The model's cool. This painted version really growing on me versus that kind of like that sort of crude resin sculpt that we saw earlier, but love this, and that Dooku is super sharp. So that pose has stood up the test of time for me. I think that was a great Dooku pose. So I'm
very interested to know how they got a straight lightsaber on him.
It's aftermarket. Yeah. It almost looks like they've done some like that. Either that's painted or that is digitally altered, but it looks cool. But yeah, agreed. Yeah, it is straight. That's a good one, Mike. But we'll get into Asajj and kind of all the speculation around. A lot of hot takes on Asajj. Like I've been reading that for about 2 days now in terms of all the combos and the non-combos, and whether Asajj is worth taking or not taking. And is she tanky? Is she not tanky? I think people are on 2 ends of the spectrum here when it comes to describing Asajj, and we'll see where we land here in the coming screens. But let's get into a couple things beforehand. Mike's going to tell us all about LVO. We talked about the top 8 last week. We'll let Mike kind of recap maybe his tale to the top 2, and along the way maybe break down the list and tell people your thoughts on the list and what went into building it and what you felt its strengths, and if it had any weaknesses. I mean, maybe very few, or maybe you were just really good at covering them up as you made your way through the field. So take it away. Tell us about LVO 2023.
Yeah. So for LVO, I was like, hey, the rules just changed. I'm gonna bring a meme list. This was the plan. I was just like, we're gonna have fun here. And anybody that knows my background knows that I played a lot of full arcs in the past. So I decided to kind of just be like,
Embrace
what? Everybody thinks, yeah, exactly. 501st, everybody thinks 501st is bad. I also think 501st is probably not great. But you know what? Let's go to LVO, have a good time. I brought 2 backup armies for the other 2 events because I was not really planning on making day 2. And otherwise, like, I normally wouldn't do that. Like, I'm not going to bring a backup army to Adepticon. Like, that's not the plan. Yeah, so I kind of threw. This was the best version, I think, of 501st that I could kind of put together on paper. I had played a bunch of games of 501st with Rex, and knowing that Blizzard Force was going to be a thing, I mean, we had all been talking about LVO kind of before it happened, and I knew that there was a sizable population of competitive players that were like, we're bringing Blizzard to make a point. So I was like, all right, well, I can't not take Force Push because if you got to be able to deal with Operative Vader, at least somewhat. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm going to try and put together an Anakin 501st list, which previously to this event I thought was like just throw it in the trash and move on with your life sort of situation, just because everything in this list is beyond expensive. But I showed up that day, and yeah, I mean, so I think a couple caveats to this. I did lose a game day one against Evan Paul, Doc Velo on the Discord. He was playing Blizzard Force. We didn't really get to have what I would consider a like a game that would kind of actually bear out how good this list is or is not against Blizzard Force. I forced Bombing Run on Disarray with the express idea of trying to basically steal a unit from my far Disarray zone back to my army and basically make it VAPS because I'm 800 and he's not. We kind of lined up across the table, and it was very clear both of us were going to be able to drop our bombs, and I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to set up a full arc over here and scout it out of the zone and try and get it back home as quickly as possible. He had set up only one bike in his other zone, so it was like conceivable that was possibly an option. I definitely messed up, and I should have put a phase 2 with a medic over there and a surge token as opposed to a full arc unit. That like I made a very clear mistake had it not been in this situation before. And the full arc unit ended up basically rolling no paint on their saves and dying immediately. So my gambit basically was, it was one of those like turn 0 gambits you make, and it either works and you have like a really great chance to win the game, or it doesn't work and you kind of just lose. And the reason I made it was because like Blizzard Force is good, and I just kind of wanted to be able to try and steal a game.
Right.
So didn't work out, but I sort of got a mulligan in that I ended up going 2-1 that day. And turns out that this list is really hard to kill. It's really hard to kill anything in this list. And I think, I've heard, I think the story of this list, to me, is less about the 501st and more about Anakin with Force Barrier. Force Barrier on Anakin is really, really, really good. And I had never played it before, frankly. And it's, they're rolling like 6 Hindu, like heavy cover takes 2, you barrier the other 2, maybe you dodge another, you roll 1. If the guy dies, you just put him back with a medic.
Right.
It's like,
yeah, I was just gonna say for you covered. I was gonna say for the uninitiated, like why is when you say tanky, why is that? But you're just basically you're negating anything that's really potentially forcing a save. So, and then that way you're not even having to roll a lot of red dice. You're not really relying on dice. So that situation you were describing, where you had to roll dice, you didn't have your gimmick or your trick. But and that's you paid the price on that, I guess. So
yeah, and yeah, definitely in that game against Doc Velo. And I think like the big thing with this Anakin list is generally if you got a Force user in your list, you want to go last with the Force user just so that you're maintaining. If you're not in yet, right? Like sometimes if like you're in their lines, you want to go first and kill stuff. But
right.
This Anakin just wants to go once Force Barrier's down. You just are like either dodge recover if you don't have Master of the Force, or like aim dodge Master of the Force it back if you need to move instead of aiming. That basically means he's taking like 4 hits off the top between defend, dodge, and force barrier, and I think in the future I'm almost certainly going to run this version of Anakin with defensive stance, so that'll go up to 5 instead of 4. And it's just that's fundamentally I think what this list is built on. I think there are other great things about this list that was a little bit unexpected. This list is actually, like, as far as like range gunfights go, is actually generally winning the battle against probably 90% of lists at almost every range band, which is actually kind of interesting. Between the mortar and the 4 snipers, like anything at range 4 to 5, unless they've, you know, brought in AAT or something, like, you're in a great spot.
Yeah, it's just, and then man, those and at range 3 you got it locked down, you know, scarily well. I want to talk a little bit about which is, again, as you pointed out, it's really deadly, and obviously the closer you get to Anakin, the scarier he gets for sure. Can you talk to us a little bit about the bark speeder? And I don't want to foreshadow your game, your top 4 game, but it was like your MVP for sure. And like
Totally.
I was watching that, and like for a person who runs a lot of vehicles, like I sort of saw it like a mile away, and I was like, man, that thing is not out there just doing nothing. It's there to, like, you were bringing, in my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think it was posing 2 threats. You were both posing the block to the middle and a pseudo threat to the back with that. So what did the bark do for you in multiple games, and maybe specifically talk about that top 4 game?
Yeah, so I think basically my standard deployment for the bark is to put it literally on the table edge in the back right-hand corner of my deployment zone every game. That's where it starts. I don't want to get in shot at. I don't want to shoot with it. It's not very good at that. Like, one bark is just like not a good shooter. I'm not doing the fire support thing. That's like, I don't have the orders for that. It's not like on the table really. The whole point, I think after that game, Timbo basically said to me, he was like, hey man, you're basically playing X-Wing with that bark. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's just there to like mess people's day up at the end of the game. Like, I'm not shooting, like, it can shoot, right? Like, if you needed to flex into that role, and I think if you watch the finals game, you see it kind of flex into that role a little bit. But in a game like, you know, you're playing KP, being able to like compulsory move and just, you know, push people off a point is like the most powerful thing you can be doing. You know, it's like 55 points to have access to that effect at the end of the game is insane. And that's definitely, like, in the game with Timbo, I was just like, all right, I'm gonna just like compulsory move up once every turn, and, you know, we'll just set ourselves up in a situation where he can't shoot at it, and like, it's, by the time he could shoot at it and it's relevant, shooting at it is actually going to cost him more than not shooting at it, probably, right? So yeah, I think overall people just like look at it in the list, and to be honest, day 1 I was like, this is a pass activation, it's kind of crappy. But as we kind of like made our way at the tail end of day 1 and day 2, I was like, there are better things I could be doing with this. That was definitely like a learning situation for me, is to like how I needed to be using it in this list. And 9 games is obviously a ton of games to be able to like kind of like adapt your strategy over 3 days. So I definitely, by the end of the tournament, I think that the semifinal games against Timbo was actually like a really good example of basically me not knowing how to run that bark in this list at all, and then like knowing exactly what I needed to be doing with it by the end of the tournament. So that was like a really cool like learning thing for me personally.
No, I think that's that's a key with vehicles, and you know, there's lots of vehicles you can do that with, but the exceptionally speedy bark speeder, you know, anything can, you know, effectively triple move if need be, because you're not running the sidecar on there, so it's faster, and yeah, just that long range threat is pretty fantastic. So you can do it to a lesser extent with bikes for sure. But they don't take up the same amount of real estate. That bark in some cases is going to be enough to block or at least sit on a KP and hustle everybody off. So if you want to go late with it, so did you find that the order control on that was a bit of a factor? Like if you wanted to set something up where you like in that particular turn, Did you have to get it in an order, or were you trying to order the bark at all just to get that one out of the bag, or how were you playing that?
I was definitely trying. So first of all, the order control on this list is god awful, and it's one of the things that I think could be better.
Right.
First of all, second, when I could, yeah, absolutely. The thing about it is that having an order on Anakin and the bark on the important turns is really, really difficult. Basically, you've got what, 3 cards that hand out orders to like more than just Anakin, basically, and right. One of them can't give orders to the bark, and the other 2 are Anakin's 3-pip and his 2-pip, so you want to be playing them early to start like getting Exemplar and Defend down on the table. So that's a very long-winded way of saying no, I almost never had an order on the bark because it wasn't an option.
Yeah. No, I was kind of thinking about that you probably couldn't. It's just situationally, I guess. But you know what? And maybe in a roundabout way, that might almost make the bark seem a little less threatening to some opponents, right? Like when you hey, he's not ordering this, he's not making it a priority. It's kind of doing really nothing until it's doing everything effectively. Is kind of the way I would summarize that top 4 game for sure. So it came streaking into the side and ended up being problematic. And I don't think the way it, like, at least a table reaction, I don't think Tim fully planned for it and was, didn't really have a way of getting around it. Kind of forced him into making a choice he didn't want to, and kind of left him with a scrambling shot at the end. So not that I suggest he played, bad at all. He played quite excellent. It's just that was a bit of a wrench thrown in there that ended up being pretty pivotal from my seat, on the digital sidelines. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's one of those things where, if you've never played against somebody playing speeders or any vehicles that way before, and I'm sure Tim has, but like that's not what this list is really doing. Generally speaking, like this is kind of a gun line that happens to have 1 bark in it because it's a force org mandatory requirement. And what's funny about that is like people complain about the force org requirement of having a support in here. I actually think I would take a bark in here even if it wasn't required, but just because it was so good.
Right.
It was the bark was my bark's driver's name is Gary.
Okay, nice.
And he's getting all of the wind stripes painted on his bark once I'm get it out of the suitcase and everything.
Got it.
So
you heard it here first. Naked Bark OP, please nerf. 56 points next rules update after Worlds.
Yep.
Just getting that 1 point, 1 point increase. So
needs
awesome.
a heavy amount of development time to figure that
out. Just unnecessary. We're just unnecessarily being gamers at this point. So yeah. Striker was pointing out earlier. He's just saying that the change will make people cry, and then they don't. They don't cry, no matter what. So basically, I think he's kind of saying that, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't kind of thing. There's no way of pleasing us. That is accurate. And they do say, so they're holding off to prevent players from having to get 300 reps in with a new list. And yeah, I don't know if like changing that would be suggestive, the new rules made people, not prepared for LVO. But I think the things you were probably doing to, play good Legion probably didn't get greatly impacted. You probably had to make an adjustment. And I would say that any change to any list pre-Worlds would be no more than just a simple adjustment. I mean, we're going to talk about a new unit here in seconds that may or may not impact a faction or how you play against it. And yeah, no one's going to get reps in against Asajj, and I'm not sure what Asajj's drop date, but we're also going to have Dark Troopers come out, which people are, maybe they're getting reps in against the proxy versions on TTS, but physically on the table, we're not getting reps in against them unless you have them in hand. So I think we're going to always live in a constant state of evolution in this game. And so I go back to my earlier point that I think just picking a point and making a change is fine. So, yeah. So how 317 or 18 for Ventress. Okay, cool. I can unmute you. Yeah, there you go, Jace. Yeah. So
Yeah, so the Dark Troopers are the 17th of this month of February, so in 10 days. And Ventress is, along with the Ahsoka, is March 17th, so exactly a month later.
Okay, so exactly like 5-6 days out from Worlds then, so or at least a day I'm
Yep.
leaving for Worlds, so a week, and that 11-day thing doesn't exist anymore. So there could feasibly be people at Worlds running Ventress, which will be exciting. So awesome. Okay, well I don't want to shortchange you on the conversation about LVO, Mike, but was there any game particularly that you wanted to highlight outside of that? Was there? I know that you played Kyle in the finals, and we can watch that. David covered that off, so you can check that out. I'm not sure if you want to talk about that one, or was there another particular game that was like, just really, exciting, or felt really good about that? I mean, facing Blizzard Force twice, probably. I don't say they felt the exact same, but I think you probably expected that the Blizzard Forces would play similar. But what else did you encounter that was interesting?
I faced a lot of Hero Hammer lists, particularly like Izzy was playing Double Bounty, Iden, Inferno, which is basically kind of like a Hero Hammer thing. I played 3 separate Rebel, 4 hero lists that like all had Boba and like Chewie and some like pikes in them and stuff. And I mean, in fairness, I think a lot of my matchups, like I definitely got some like good straws drawn in the kind of just like pulling certain lists.
You like what? Did you crush every Rebel list there? Like you played 3 Rebels?
Oh, it was and like I actually think that matchup is it's almost impossible to beat me, just because you've got all these like small dice pools that have Pierce, and I'm just like, all right, I bury this, I bury that. Oh, you didn't roll crit this time, great, I dodged it. Like I just didn't roll saves ever.
You didn't have nothing left to Pierce. Yeah, that's
like the way to get in over the top of this list is Timbo actually did it very well in our semifinals game, where he just like fire supported like 16 black and red dice into a full arc unit, and I just picked it up off the table. Right. That's how you kill this list.
High velocity seems like a nice counter maybe to some of what you got going on too, if you can make the dice pool big enough. So
I think like the AAT definitely, but like Izzy had 3 high velocity units, and I was just like, yep, I bury all your sniper shots, moving on. And also I think Civil War snipers they're really bad now. I don't know if they're unplayable, but they're pretty bad.
What are you thinking about? We were talking pre-show, and I didn't really ask you specifically about this, but do you think like some of the blast shenanigans might get around this, where it's like that's 2 free hits that you're not taking away, kind of thing? Do you think that'll be? I mean, obviously most of those blast weapons have to get to you to be able to do said things, but I think that might be. I guess effectively anything that makes you have to potentially roll saves would be the way to start removing models. But
you just don't want to be.
Red feels good.
Yeah, you just don't want to be losing full arc troopers is like losing Mandos. It just feels really bad. You need the medics there, because eventually you're going to lose 1 or 2, and once you lose 1 or 2 out of them, their range 3 pool starts sucking really, really fast. Right. And so, I mean, I think just overall, you got to make sure that you're saving those units. But to your point about Blast, I think not enough people were on the Blast Sharpshooters train. I think that's one of the reasons this list kind of came out swinging harder than I thought it was gonna. Heavy cover is just like every shot in Legion now. And maybe not every, but it's a lot of them.
It's a lot of them.
95% at least.
Yeah, and like this unit's got this has 3 mainline units with Sharpshooter 1 on its range 3 shooters. Like that's not insignificant over the course of the tournament. It probably added like 140 hits to my the amount of hits I rolled that like would have normally gone away due to cover. 140 might be high, but it's definitely over 100. And that's a lot of value. And I think Blast just takes that one step further. So
we were kind of again in the pre-chat will bring it up here because it's all interesting. So I like that Legion is maybe now more than I can really remember a bit of an arms race right now. And it's not necessarily like a single focused arms race. Like it's not like one way is the way to like now win the arms race. Like you just mentioned, you go fire support pools to get over that, that cover that's existing. Maybe you bring out blast weapons that you weren't running before. Maybe we'll see a proliferation of like flamethrowers, or maybe we'll see more sharpshooter pools. Or I think there's a bit of an arms race, and I don't think any one answer right now. Maybe you're bringing much more critical, and we've certainly seen an impact proliferation, at least in terms of what I have seen in my games in the last several months, that impact stock is kind of going up with the, extra vehicles. And we certainly saw pikes and their dodge spam running amok, and then, they took a little bit of a price increase, and then a little bit of that went down. And yeah, there's lots of things that are happening right now, and I like that sort of arms race element of Legion right now. So Canadian Bear saying he's loving to shooty Wookiees with Yoda right now. So yeah, so like there's lots of stuff. So but if it wasn't said before, well done, Mike at LVO. Whether you took a meme list or not, you took it to the top 2. So there's something to be said about that. You may have taken a meme list, but you were no Dave Grant. You did not generate that many memes. That individual.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear. I was like, at the end of the tournament, I was like, come on, man. Like the one time I decided to like do something like this, Dave Grant's got to show up with a 6 activation list. Didn't steal the thunder, right?
So weird Dave Grant connection, not really, but on the weekend, one of the things on Patreon I do is on my tier 3, I do like consults with people. So like they'll talk about a project they got, or we'll do a think tank, et cetera, et cetera. So Paul, who's been a patron of mine, him and I had. This was a follow-up call because we were working on some scatter he was working on, and we got talking about CIS, and he was telling me that he just went to a tournament a few months back, and he went 5-1 at the tournament, 4-1 at the tournament, and his only loss with the list he was bringing was to Dave Grant's shenanigans with Pelt Vader, and he was like, it was just exactly that, not knowing everything that list was about to bring down on you, and he's like, I'd love to have another crack at it because I think I could, now that I've seen that, maybe approach it differently and do a little better. But yeah, I was just like, oh, cool. That was that just a neat connection to have somebody else to know that Dave Grant's been running over people on multiple continents with that list. So the folks at LVO were amongst good company, I guess. So yeah, quite a list, 6 activations. So. Well, you weren't far off with 8. And maybe a year ago you would have got laughed off the face of the planet with an 8 activation list. But
I would have left myself off the face of the planet. Passing is really the only thing that makes this list, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, how often did you find yourself passing with it?
I passed basically every turn that I was eligible to do so. I would say.
Yep.
Just about, and unless we were in like a significantly aggressive situation where we're like drawing stuff out of the bag immediately. But even on those turns, I found myself passing once I kind of like got through the activations that needed to go. I ended up just passing so that I could generally hold Anakin or activate Anakin when I needed to.
Right.
So I definitely think 8 activations, as long as you've got a plan. And the passing, I think, makes them viable. I think.
I'm warming up. Cool. I'm warming up the 9 act list. I think I can make 9 act list work nicely with, 9 acts to me is the old 10 acts, and everything's kind of coming down a notch. So I don't know what a 13 act list looks like anymore. So hardly have a run in 10 many in a while. But that Iden Hero Hammer list, I've been running into that quite a bit. That double bounty seems to be a popular choice. So yeah, trying to play around.
It does.
Yeah, trying to play around bounty. It might be a thing too. So
I will say that Echo makes those matchups tenable, and that you can just kind of pick the sniper strike teams up off the board.
Right.
And it's just like and basically equalize the activation count pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, that is certainly that's been kind of my approach lately is and especially with Blizzard Force, like overwhelming barrage, to just go get any small health pools out there is real good. So killing mortars, things like that. Even taking a bike out of a mirror match Blizzard Force, even grabbing a bike out of 2 squads of speeder bikes is viable. There's potential for that too. So
it's huge for sure.
Yep. All right. Well, let's spend some minutes on Asajj here. We won't spend a ton because we'll probably have more of that come up in the roundtable. But so we got Asajj came out. So here's the box release. Obviously going into the CIS faction, we'll be filling that operative slot. I'll just run through the card here and let you and Jace kind of live react to that. So 150 points base. So a little bit pricier than maybe we've seen some units in the last little bit here. So 2 force slots and 2 training slots. Jump 2, deflect, independent, dodge 1, indomitable, immune pierce. Is it Jakai mastery or Jakari? Maybe it's
Jarkai,
how you say that?
I think.
Okay, Jarkai.
Jarkai.
Okay, fair enough. Awesome. Mastery, and I think you can get another mastery here down the road, so we get in the command cards. And then relentless, so a lot of keywords on here, so really filled up with the bold text here, a lot of print, a lot of ink in this card here. So obviously you only get 1 in the units, 5 health, 2 courage, red dice saves, no surging up or down, speed 2, just count them up there. That is 8 black dice on that melee weapon, impact 2, pierce 2, so is hitting hard. I mean, real hard. So, So
just hope you don't roll surges.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the unit card I think is whelming to me personally.
Whelming.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of. I don't know.
I think the kids are using meh these days.
Meh. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I'm over 30 now, so I don't know what the kids are using. But
I only know because I'm in a high school, so I know most of the words I don't know until I'm be like, oh yeah, I kind of live react, and I'm like, yeah. So okay, so meh. Jace, what reaction do you have? What are the kids saying? Because Jace is a kid. What are you saying these days?
I mean, she looks very interesting, but I mean the unit card itself is kind of there's a lot of noticeable things that make it different than most other force users that are kind of basic important needs that you usually look for in those force users, such as the 3 courage, the 6 health, surging of some form on offense, and she doesn't have any of those.
Okay, any pluses going here? Because I'm seeing things like relentless I do like, but obviously
pluses, relentless is great, except
range.
I honestly don't think it's much more difference than if she had charge, but
true.
It gives you the option, which is always good, I guess. Right? Options are better than no options.
The Indomitables might be a little bit of a help in terms of the 2 courage.
Yes, that's necessary because she's 2 courage. If she did not have Indomitable, probably not very good at all.
It definitely is the only thing keeping her out of the garbage bin immediately, I think, for me. Like if she didn't have Indomitable, looking at this unit card, I'd say she's probably straight unplayable. That's my
option.
But
Mike reaches the shelf, purchases Ventress, walks to garbage can, drops Ventress in trash. Wait a minute, did I see Indomitable on here? I'll give her a go here. So
Independent's interesting.
Yeah, but maybe with a unit that's like got courage 2 and maybe non-surging and low health, you probably just want to be going with maybe like.
But you're also with CIS, so you can usually give an order out to everything else and leave just her in the bag, trigger the independent, pull the one thing.
Gotcha. It says every CIS player until they forget that they forgot to get a coordinate chain link. It's at 6.1 inches. Oh, sad face. So yeah, that happens. It happens to all of us. But I guess I'm not sure that. I think the independent dodge. Obviously, there's going to be another value here. We're going to talk about in a second on that. But
jump 2 is also very interesting. Not jump 1.
Yeah, I mean that maybe fits the character
because super jump Jump higher than some jetpacks in the game.
Yeah, I mean, go higher than. I mean, it doesn't every basically trooper unit now move the equal height of speeder units. So
pretty much.
Yeah. And then that big dice pool. Now, obviously, that is super swingy with black dice and no surge. So, like, on average, that's 4, right?
Yeah.
It is, it's 4.
On average, it's 4.
Ceiling pretty high there. Also, let down. We've probably all rolled pools of big black dice and had, been found wanting on that for sure. So, yeah. So let's maybe break into some of the cards because maybe that'll help us feel a bit better about Ventress here. So I'll go.
I love the cards.
I'll go through the pips here. Maybe we'll go 3, 2, 1. We'll go the opposite direction here. We can talk about them each. But 3 pip is yes, my master. This will be to Asajj. Well, it's Asajj Ventress's cards, but it actually issues to no units. Card's got a bit unique text here. It says you must divulge this card. It stays in play. And we have 2 sort of qualifiers for this. The first one, divulge, deploy unit step, permanent. Asajj Ventress gains bounty and reinforcements. And then the under section of divulge here, deploy unit step, permanent. Asajj Ventress gains demoralize 1, Makashi mastery, and outmaneuver. So my understanding would be we would be choosing one or the other of these. Is that how that's going to
Correct. You pick one or the other.
Okay. I guess we'll go with you, Mike. Any thoughts around this? And if you were forced into one, which of those feels better to you?
I think it's a really cool card. I do want to caveat that like it's actually the way that this card is written, it's not obvious how this card is supposed to work, or rather how it actually works. I think it's obvious how it's supposed to work, but I actually don't think that this card stays in play unless you play it out of your hand, as it's currently written. It doesn't actually enter play when it's divulged.
Right. Yeah.
So that's just an interesting little tidbit. I like just like all the other divulge cards. You get the permanent divulge abilities, Padme's secret mission and stuff, and Vader's darkness descends. Like you still get the text of the divulge abilities, right?
Right.
It's just not obvious to me that this actually stays in play when it's divulged. As it reads, it stays in play when you play it out of your hand. But I think the implication here is that it's probably supposed to stay in play when you divulge it. Maybe we'll get an updated text to divulge, but
Not
I do
before
think
Worlds.
there's a little
No development time.
I don't know. So I think the demoralize, Makashi mastery, outmaneuver mode is probably the mode you're putting in her in like 90% of the time. If your opponent doesn't have a force user though, or like maybe a Mandalorian, I think you're probably going with the bounty side of this.
Mm-hmm. Reinforcements doesn't feel too bad either. I like reinforcements a lot on several units. Jace has been using it on swoops. I've been using it on swoops. That feels pretty good. It's just that kind of a little bit of a delay mechanism. So then you can either force position or put some early pressure on a possible bounty target. So I think I'm with you though, Mike. I think I like the bottom one just I think for versatility's sake. I saw some people talking about putting a fear on Asajj, right, and getting that demoralized 2. I think is a combo that you can do there because I think it's fear, right, that adds the demoralized keyword.
Yeah,
it is. It is.
Yeah, outmaneuver. If you got the independent dodge, maybe dodging those. The ability to dodge a crit doesn't feel bad without surge there. So it's not a bad 3 pip. It's just the no units kind of feels like I'm not quite sure. I guess on that, but in terms of why that is a thing, but because then the reinforcements might be a little bit tricky, right? Where you're like you're going to reinforce Asajj, but then you might, if you don't have the cleanest bag, then maybe you might be found wanting a few times as you search for her on the pole. So,
yeah.
I mean, the no units would make sense if they just think that the card is thrown away after you divulge it, and it doesn't go back to your hand and isn't your round 1 card, because then it wouldn't matter. Because it only gives you divulge ability. But based on that first line of the text, I don't think anyone really understands what this card is doing once it's divulged.
Yes, that's the thing. Like it's not. I mean, I think the intent is clear, like you're saying, Jace.
Yeah.
Like it seems pretty clear that they want this card to basically sort of work like Maul's discard card a little bit.
Yeah.
But keep it in play as opposed to having it discarded. But the way that it's templated is, I mean, look, I don't make the game, but it's wrong.
Yeah.
It honestly sounds like they just double permanent. They did permanent twice, once with the keyword and once with the sentence.
Yeah.
Completely unrelated, but Frank's wondering, Jace, when you're just going to finish your models and do them on your own time.
Frank, this is my own time.
Canadian Bear, I think you are correct. Kalani with Asajj in there would give you reinforcements 5. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put down these 3 B1s and then you do everything and then I'll do all the rest of my stuff after. So yeah, that is potential for sure. So yeah, so a little bit maybe we'll get some clarity on that. I think they've been pretty good about cleaning up all this stuff on the rules forum. That you just got to go there and check that out. So
Totally,
I'm sure somebody's already asked and probably asked 4 times at this point. So so number 2, or the 2 pip I should say, I am Fear. Little foreshadowing there that maybe Fear is a good card. Asajj Ventress only. When Asajj begins her activation, she recovers. At the end of Asajj Ventress's activation, she may perform an attack using the following weapon. Looks like it's a melee range 1 black. It's suppressive and spray, surge crit.
The surge is nice.
The surge crit is actually nice. Yeah. This.
It's also nice that she can do her normal attack and then do this as well.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't have versatile on it though, right? So that if you were engaged in a melee, you wouldn't be able to then do this, or
you'd have to do it against the melee unit.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you wouldn't really get maybe black dice go off and you do a lot of damage, but I think situationally I think this card could be good, but without versatile, I think for me it's not as great. I would love to see this with the versatility of having versatile, right? Go in, crash, hit something hard, and then hit something at a nice range 1 with a spray. I'm not sure what attack this is sort of simulating. It looks like she's choking somebody here, so I don't get the whole tie-in with the suppressive spray weapon, but maybe I'm missing something in the lore a bit there. So. But this card to me,
48th Ronin, it's 1 black dice per model in the enemy unit. It's got spray. It's like a flamethrower.
Yeah. But
it's.
I guess if you swung with your big black pool and you didn't really find yourself doing much damage, then you would have, I didn't kill any models. I hit Mike's arcs and he just dodged and put all my stuff away, and now I'm going to hit him with spray to kind of take away that, burnt up all his tokens there. So, but again, it's not. The melee. I guess it would negate the cover there. The suppressive's good because it will give you a suppression in melee, and obviously the surge crit is where you make up some offensive output there. But yeah, this one's meant for me.
I think you're taking this card because you want the recover, not so much the attack.
Yeah,
at least on the surface.
Yeah, that's what we were stating earlier. I think when we get to the 1 pip, I could say the 2 pip then becomes a little bit more valuable, but maybe there's some other ways to keep her suppression in check. But for me, the offensive output of the lower portion of this card is not overly appealing. It's not huge, as Jace pointed out. Doing it a second attack in the round is always great, but I think that recover might be huge for her. So. Let's have look at the 1 pip here.
Yeah, I will say one thing with the 2 pip.
Yep.
When I first read this, I 100% thought it was you hit every unit around you, like every other card that does this. And I was like, this card is insane. And then I found out it was 1 unit. I was like, this card isn't that great.
Jace just takes a Sharpie and just amends his own card to like,
What do you mean I don't hit every eligible unit?
Yeah. Sean pointing out here, yes, there is always that option for using that push at the end of it, and that is one way that you could certainly do that. So, yeah, go in and hit whatever you want to at the end of that attack, push that unit out, and then maybe hit something else at range 1. So, yeah, that is a possibility there. But again, then you might not be leaving Asajj in the best position, with weak defense. But we'll talk a little bit about the defense. Maybe there's ways to buff it up a little bit. So, having a look at the 1-pip here, the Jedi shall fall. Asajj Ventress again. Asajj gains Jedi Hunter, while Asajj Ventress performs an attack during the roll attack dice step. Before rolling dice, she may gain up to 4 suppression tokens, and she gains 1 dodge token for each suppression token gained in this way. I think we just want to go back up and cover off that Jakai mastery. While performing a melee attack, you can spend any number of dodge tokens. For each dodge token, improve 1 attack die result. Now, when they say improve here, Mike, are you reading like a blank goes to a hit and a hit goes to a crit? Or how are you interpreting that as improving a die attack, a die result?
Yeah, I think this is basically melee marksman. For dodge tokens, obviously. Okay. That's how I read that. Obviously, it's possible it doesn't work that way, but that seems likely.
Yeah, that's how I would interpret it too. Again, but it seems a little ambiguous when you say improve. Like when I roll a blank, I can see an improvement going right to a crit. I consider that also an improvement. So
yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think overall, in the circumstance, like the difference, like even if it would improve it to a crit, I don't think it's, unless you're attacking a vehicle, it's probably not that important.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, but I think this mastery coupled with the 1-pip feels kind of good, because if you're hitting on average 50% of those dice, and then you can improve another 4. That to me is a nice way to get a big boat of black dice into a unit. Obviously, taking 4 suppression puts you at a little bit of a situation where you will be at panic value unless you have a Courage 3 commander around, like maybe a Dooku. But it's not a bad card, and the mastery isn't like an everlasting effect. The getting of the dodge tokens you can trigger off independent or maybe other ways. Maybe you take like 6 portable scanners and just constantly improve Asajj's ability to offensively output and maybe defense. Mike made a good point. Do you even shoot at a 6 dodge Asajj? And kind of my point was like, can you afford not to, kind of thing. So because
that's very possible.
It's like, I won't shoot at you.
It's going to hit you hard,
but then you're just going to hit me hard if I don't burn those dodges. So it seems like there's a combo there for sure. But then it comes down to the action limiting potential of the courage value, right? All those dodges don't do much if you don't have any actions. So so thoughts on the 1-pip? It's interesting. It's kind of a it's got some pluses and some minuses here for sure.
It's not Son of Skywalker. Like, I just want to, like, it's not Son of Skywalker. It's not Implacable. Like, it's fine. But to me, this takes, like, a overall kind of meh lightsaber pool. Like 8 black is fine, but not Surging. It's kind of like...
Yeah. It is the average dice pool of the game.
It's
you cannot get more average than just a bunch of black dice.
Totally. And so this makes it so that, like, you're probably gonna, put somewhere between 6 and 8 into something Pierce 2. So this is like the standard, Force user 1-pip that kills a unit, right? Like, we've seen that basic effect templated in like 12 different ways at this point. And I think the suppression token clause is kind of a do-nothing in that I think she's recovering almost every turn she's in melee anyways. She's going to, I think, force push and force choke are just stapled to her probably most of the time. Mm-hmm. And you've got no way to recover them other to take the recover action. So I definitely think, like, Asajj's main mode is going to be, like, when you play this, attack, recover, get her force powers back, and, force push something else into melee with her or something. So... yeah, I think it's fine. I think, to me, I do like the Jakai mastery in that, specifically with cards like this and like the dodge tokens thing, is in that, like, she's got a low health. Like, you're not going to want to spend all your dodge tokens unless everything is activated already.
Right. Yeah, you might have to live with like, an average pool, and you're like, I'm good to make this 6 on this one. Like I don't want to go. I don't go like blow my whole dodge pool here. And you're gonna issue to Asajj here, so you're not gonna trigger the independent dodge. So you're gonna get those. You're gonna get those 4. So and it's a main gain, and it's a may gain up to 4 suppression tokens. So you get to, I guess, you got to make that. Yeah, I think you got to make that decision of how many dodges you're going to get, and then you're then going to have to make the decision of how many of those dodges that I chose to get that I'm now willing to spend. So like you're having to do some calculus along here. So yeah, you can go for the ultimate swing here, but if it doesn't bear out because your opponent makes a great defensive roll, or maybe they're immune pierce, you might just be found really wanting after that. So
the other thing too is just the timing of this card, right? Because if they also play a 1 pip and you lose that roll off, like you don't get those dodges till you go to roll an attack.
Yep.
The other thing too is if you're not going to roll an attack or do an attack action, you don't get those dodges at all. So like you have to pretty much guarantee you're going to make an attack that turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, which should be pretty easy, I think, with Relentless.
Yeah, with Relentless, you should be good.
Yep. I do think it's notable that like this card feels like it's supposed to just like delete a Jedi. Even with Makashi Mastery, you're pretty unlikely to kill a Jedi with a dodge token with this card, even if you full boat an 8. So I just want to kind of like put that on the table as like this is not gonna let you kill Operative Vader outright.
Right. Yeah. I feel like speak personally, me piloting Asajj, I feel like I'm gonna learn about the hard way 6, 7, 8 times before I start to then find the real efficiencies within this. And maybe I'm just a slow learner when it comes to that stuff, but I feel like there's a lot of stuff on the surface that looks like it could be really deadly and really work in your favor, and then I think like a couple missteps and this just becomes a unit that you no longer get to play with that game. That's how I look at Asajj, just kind of first glance, and I haven't been looking at her as much as some other people, so I might be missing some obvious things here. But my first blush and glance at that, I'm seeing stuff that's like really splashy and maybe it will have a high output, but few missteps, and that 5 pool goes away real fast. So
she strikes me as like a very high risk, high reward character. She feels a little gambly to me, in that like you're kind of like banking on like you get a bunch of dodge tokens, maybe your opponent tries to suppress her to keep her down, right? And like you're banking on Indomitable to bail you out. And I think there's a couple things like that going on with her that make it so like you're kind of like relying on the dice to make her do what you want, which is not really where many Force users are. But I don't know. It's interesting. It's definitely like a different template for a Force user, which is a little refreshing.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's get into this last card here, because there's another card that comes in the pack, and then we'll get into some roundtables so you can ask Mike some questions, ask us some questions, give us some of your own hot takes, which will be great. Kurt getting on here saying nice to see Mike in so many places in the community and getting his voice back out there. So thanks a lot for that, Kurt. Can't agree more. Sean
Thanks,
saying that the B1 portable scanner spam will be interesting. Yeah. I think it could be a thing. So, okay, and so the other card that you're getting here, kind of a unique pack here, in the sense that you get like and maybe this is something maybe we'll see happening in future releases, I don't know, but you get looks like you get a Dooku card in here. So the 3 pip, or a new 3 pip for Dooku, the Sith will rule. Count Dooku. When building a command hand, treat this card as though it has 2 pips. Count Dooku gains an aim token, a dodge token, and after Count Dooku activates, if Asajj Ventress does not have a face down order token, she activates. After she activates, she has a face up order token, flip it down. If she does not have an order token, assign her a face down operative order token. So a lot of language on there. So seems to be quite synergistic here with Asajj in many accounts. So and I think everything kind of triggers post the Dooku activation, if I'm following that correctly. And then it looks like you're going to have a bunch of triggers here for Asajj based on what's going on with her. So
it's just a really fancy way of saying once you go with Dooku, you go with Asajj.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna boil that down. Like I was just thinking in my
It's
head,
literally Leia's 3-pip, but it just picks the unit you have to go with.
I'm just trying to figure out if there's all. I was just trying to look. Is there something else I'm missing here? Do we need to use so many words? So
yeah, right.
To make a short story long, that's effectively what happens, like Mike said. So let's go back to the top of this. Any significant buffs here to Dooku? Getting an aim and a dodge on Dooku. It doesn't feel terrible. Having
nice.
Having Asajj be able to go right after effectively feels also maybe good. A little combo there for sure. I'm not sure if this 3-pip is just finding its way into your command hand with both of them or not.
Especially because it just competes with the 2-pip slot.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, sorry, it's a 3-pip that's going to compete with the 2-pip slot. Yeah, so.
They like doing this weird 3-pip, 2-pip, 2-pip, 1-pip thing. I don't know.
They did it once with Maul, and now it's got to be every pack.
Yeah. And the thing is, I feel it trips people up when they're kind of like building, like not on the list builders per se, maybe, but I feel like when people are like physically building hands, it's like they're not always like registering that because they're looking at their command hand, being like, all right, I got 2 3-pips, I got 2 2-pips, and I got 2 1-pips, and away we go. So, yeah.
This is a very powerful card if Dooku Ventress is good, which is a little unclear to me because if you're playing Dooku Ventress, you pretty much just have like B1s in your list probably, or maybe like a B2 line or something. But like being able to like force choke multiple units and force push multiple units like at the head of a turn is pretty good. It's a little awkward that this is a 3-pip in that respect. Like this effect feels like it really wants to be going first.
At least you get cunning, I guess. Like that's
it's
a 2.5.
Yeah, you win that 3-pip pip off. So
so I don't know. I actually think that the most likely place this is gonna be good is just in a Count Dooku list that's just got Count Dooku. Like, if this card said, orders Count Dooku gains a dodge token, it's probably fine. Like, it's not great, but you'd probably play it in your Dooku list.
Yeah, I mean...
And this card does say that.
Yeah, and an aim, right? So it's like it's a bonus to that, right? So it's like get a dodge, get an aim, and get Dooku in order. So, What's Justice saying here? You can fit 8-act Dooku Ventress Magna T-Series with 3 B1s with upgrades. Okay. Yeah. I mean, maybe you want the Magnas in there.
Magnas are a little awkward because you can't Guardian Ventress.
Yeah, I'm all, and 3 B1 activations seems light to me. And the T-Series just looks like it's at that point becomes a cheap bounty. That I'm trying not to have right now with the proliferation of bounty out there, but I don't know about this one. I guess it's hard to say because we don't know all the synergies. I think the very premise of getting an extra like card in another pack that's effectively now usable with a unit that would have maybe had for a long time. I kind of like that approach. Maybe that'll be something that we see happen a bit more, and I'd be okay with that too. Just a way to kind of spice up some of the command hand versatility. So, yeah,
it's really cool. I dig it. Things like this don't have to be good to make them like cool things they should add to the game. So I'm all for it. Also, this card, like if it is good with Dooku and Ventress, it is a busted card. Like, the effect of this card is really good if a list that incorporates both of these characters.
Yeah, as you said, like like back-to-back chokes, back-to-back pushes, back-to-back pierce attacks. There's a lot for sure. So, did I miss something about an agile on Ventress?
I don't think so.
The Framinators here is what do you guys think about agile on Ventress?
If Agile would make Ventress more enticing.
If Agile would make Ventress, just getting dodges off moves. Yeah.
That would be probably way too good, to be honest.
Let's just let me go independent dodge and then just move twice, get 2 more dodges, and then manipulate 3 dice per attack off a relentless. Yeah, that seems quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, this will be right up Mike's alley. So, if Ventress is coming with a Dooku card, what do you think Ahsoka's going to come with a Anakin card? You can give Anakin a 4th command card.
So I listen to a lot of paint streams. I don't know, just because I feel like I have to.
Got to stay on top of the news.
Yeah, what they've alluded to is that most of the new characters are going to be getting team-up cards in their packs, kind of like Marvel Crisis Protocol does.
I was just going to say, is that a Crisis Protocol?
I was going to say, that's probably...
You used a word like a team-up there, and that sort of...
They literally used the word team-up cards when they were talking about it. So, and I don't hate that. Like, I think it's cool, to be clear.
Yeah.
I'm all for stealing good things from other games and incorporating them into ours. So yeah, I expect Cody to have a team up card with Kenobi. I expect Rebel. I don't know about Rebel Ahsoka. Maybe she's got something.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one.
She could maybe have a team up card with Sabine.
Din?
That would be cool.
Maybe Din. Maybe he just gets a little power up for little Grogu there.
Yeah.
Yep. Or a little Op Luke.
Totally. I think there's a lot of cool options. I think incentivizing people to take multiple characters is a good thing. I think those like Hero Hammer lists could use more cool synergies, just because I think that they're on average less strong than most other lists. But yeah, I think it's great.
Okay, well that's to be determined. We'll see if that bears out. But I do like the concept of getting some extra cards into other packs to kind of spice that up. So.
Yeah, more cards is always good.
Not to say that it's a little bit of a slippery slope that I don't, because we're going to have ultimately somebody who's like, oh, well, in order to get this Dooku power-up card, I now need to buy Asajj. That's just a thing we'll hear. I mean, I'm going to buy it anyway, so I wouldn't be in that camp, but hopefully it's a straight benefit of getting that that purchase, and then that makes the other units versatile, and hopefully it's not having to buy this card to get this one, and I got to buy this upgrade pack to get this upgrade, and because we've already gone down that slope. If you guys remember getting C-3PO when you bought that Tantive Force, so
gosh.
$140 C-3PO.
So.
What? Oh, in X-Wing.
In X-Wing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in order to get
1.0.
Yeah, in order to get C-3PO, you had to
one of the most busted upgrades in the game.
You had to buy an epic ship to get the
$200. $200.
Yeah,
I think they should just go to print and play for all the cards. But that's
exactly.
Okay.
I agree with you on that.
Could be a spicy take. All right. Well, in the interest, we got we're almost at that. We're at 142. So, Mike, you got about 18 minutes left in you. You got that much time?
I got all night. So
okay, fair enough. Jace, can we do a round table for about 20? 18?
You bet.
All right. Okay, we'll jump over there. You can if we didn't answer something that you want to ask, we got more minutes for it. So let's jump into that. All right, we're back in the round table. So we got some topics here. You guys know the drill. And if you don't know the drill, we put up some discussion topics. You can come in and ask us all the things you want. But if you want to flavor it under one of those topics, that's always fun. We got power creep in there, and these aren't suggestive in any means. So whatever that means to you, no change, no problem. Whatever that might entail. Maybe specifically around Blizzard Force. Maybe it's not. Maybe you were running a Blizzard Force list. You're like, yeah, no problem. I didn't want to change. You should take. So that's where you get to come in and advise us on what we should be taking to the next tournament or Worlds. And secretly, I'm just like, please tell me what I need to take. And then predictions for Worlds or tournaments, or what new cards might come in units, or what direction we might see the game going. So predictions are predictions, and we won't tell you if they're right or wrong. But we'll definitely tell you I told you so if they don't come true. So let me drop in the eCam link here. If you want to call in and give us your hot takes, we'll put a person on the screen, and If we got more callers, we'll cycle you out. So we'll be courteous to everyone who wants to call in. We'll just take one at a time here so that we don't get too much of an overflow on there. Maybe we won't go to anyone. Who knows? But in the meantime, we'll hang out and chat a little bit more about all things Legion. So I'm not sure if you guys have been having many conversations or thinking like power creep is, probably something that comes up in almost every conversation about every game. But are you feeling that? I heard a lot of conversations with that around Asajj specifically, and I don't really see Asajj as that at first blush. So,
I actually think I was concerned about power creep when AMG kind of took over, just from like their whole new people holding the reins. I actually think there was more power creep when we were under FFG. Frankly, okay. I think with the exception of the like Shadow Collective like box set just being just really powerful overall, but that was like mostly an FFG release anyhow. I think like Din, new Boba, both the IG droids, Ventress looks all pretty tame, frankly.
Right.
Like all of the units, all the bounty hunters have felt pretty fair. The new cards on Boba are certainly very good, but I'm not sure I'd call that power creep, I guess.
Yeah, the IG units feel like they have definite strengths, but Jace proves week in and week out that you can lose an IG pretty quickly. So
I have never had an IG live past turn 2.
For sure. So
2. I lose them turn 2
just
every game I play with them.
Just can't keep them alive. Graham is going to drop in here. I'm going to bring in right now Canadian Bear. There he is. Perfect. So, Mike, you are going to officially now be outnumbered by Canadians, which is the way we like it. So, Graham is on your side of the border. So, half points to him for that. So, what's going on, Graham? What do you got for us tonight? You said you were going to have a little tale for us tonight too, if you did call in. So, we'll make sure we get time for that too. So, take it away.
So one thing I just kind of noticed, talking about like power creep, they gave Bosk scale, and then put him back to where he was by making scale just expert climber.
Deep cuts.
Let's make Bosk good. JK. Jokes.
But I don't see the power creep with Asajj. I will say I will totally give kudos to AMG with Asajj's like card design, because I was trying to figure out how they were gonna make her similar enough to Dooku, but make her weaker, and they encapsulated that in the artwork on the 1-pip, where it actually the scene that all comes from.
Right.
And then they gave her black dice and non-surging natively, and they actually did. They pretty much nailed that whole concept.
Okay, well there you go. Kudos to AMG for that one.
She does feel very thematic. No power creep, but she feels thematic.
I guess they really want people to take saber throw with her though, because I can't figure out Relentless otherwise.
With the new cover rules, that's just terrible.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that.
Like, please don't put saber throw on any of your forces.
It's a trap.
Yep. Yeah.
Especially since Jar-Kai doesn't even work on ranged attacks either, so you can't even use your dodges to fix that. No.
It would have been nice before. I mean, it would be worthwhile for a ranged attack with Makashi actually being useful.
Yeah, not with new cover rules though.
No.
That just basically says like maybe on average you don't hit with it at all.
Maybe a suppression.
Maybe a suppression. Yeah, maybe. You were going to give us a This Week in Legion story. Is that what you had alluded to earlier? What's going on there now?
Yeah, was it my game 2 is myself, and then a strange event.
Yeah, Nick.
And it was my Yoda list with like 2 shooty Wookiees, an RPS phase 1, a Z6 medic squad, a naked squad, a squad with a medic, and then an Echo strike team.
Are you talking Mike's language now?
Yeah, buddy.
Against a IG-88 riding in a Gav with a Belmiko Snow Squad, a Stormtrooper with a repair bot, a Snow with a repair bot, then 2 bikes, and he used every single repair to keep those guys alive. And of course, we're playing supply drop, and that kicked me in the butt at the very end because he had 6 heals natively. He got the 7th heal. We get into turn 6. Yoda charges in, slices the Gav on the side. 3 afterwards. It's gonna be 3 saves for him. Pierce 2. He rolls 3 for 3. Is alive on 1. Moves in, lands on the KP. Realizing later that my second act should have been a different clone squad. I went with the squad that could score. Shot the tank. No aiming. 3 natty crits. Or 2 crits and then an impact on the side. He rolls 3 more saves right in my face.
Nice.
And it's
And
just
then
like, well,
I roll 1 for 10 shields back on my game. So I gave. That's where the dice went, Graham. They came to me. So thanks.
yeah, there you go.
Hey, it's no 55-point naked bark, but a Gav tank displaces just as well as everything else when you move it on the KP position. So.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was a great game, but it was very close, and it's just it hadn't been saving well, and then the last turn, it's like, nah, I'm gonna save 6 for 6.
That's what vehicles sometimes.
This
sometimes
is
do.
how she goes, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because IG was still riding in the back, and had Yoda done the job, IG would have dropped out, and I would have won the KP at that point because my squads would just move on.
That's your problem,
And then IG
Jace,
would
right
have
there.
skipped his activation and sat there.
You don't have an IG insulating around or you don't have a Gav tank insulating your IG. That's what you've been doing wrong all this time.
Dude, if I put IG in a Gav, Anthony would just be like, "Oh, I'm ignoring the Gav. I'm going to shoot IG inside of it."
Yep.
Okay.
I mean,
That's what I was trying to do, but the repair said no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's an interesting idea.
I think Dark Troopers inside a Gav tank's also quite
Yeah, that's
interesting.
going to be nasty. Put your heavy inside a heavy.
But what's the point in putting them in there?
So that you can get around that plotting from a distance standpoint. Because you get the one,
sure.
yeah. So you can basically deliver them, effectively speeding it up maybe 1 or 2 turns, if not if you're moving across the table. Because then that delivery, along with your I'm just going to deep strike in, delivery feels pretty good. It's obviously a heavy point commitment, but you can also just leave them in there and just have them shooting out of that vehicle the entirety of the time, I guess, too. So.
Then you don't get any cover.
Yeah, that's the rough part with them is just cover doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I could see someone trying to do Dave's list, but drop Vader and put in a unit of fully kitted out Dark Troopers in the back of the Gav instead.
Just pull the strings on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could happen. Again, it's all pricey stuff. So Dave influence, yeah, The Gav take stock just went way up after LVO as well. So there was a question here that came in, Mike, just from Kurt. I know you talked about this a little bit, but you just wanted to talk about a possibility of taking choke over barrier.
I think the quick answer to that is no. I think it would be cool if Anakin was a good choke platform. The issue with Anakin being a good choke platform is, frankly, he just doesn't want to dive until turn 4 at the earliest, generally, and so it's not ideal. If you're taking choke, you want to be using it as many turns as possible, and that's just not. Anakin's a support piece at the end of the day. He doesn't have any flashy command cards to let him do cool things. That's not to say you can't build an Anakin with choke, but you got to be all in on triple Wookiees, or put Anakin in a lat and drop him into their kind of the middle of their army. And
Yeah, your plan has to be to get Anakin in combat beginning of turn 3 at the latest.
yeah, and It generally just involves a lot of things that, at least to date, have not really panned out as being very good in Republic yet. You know,
it might be a bit of
which
a
is
tough sell
anticipated.
for you too, Mike, coming off the success that you said you were having with Barrier and it being like so critical in the list in terms of.
I love Barrier and Clones list.
Yeah, I don't think I could. If I had to decide between Barrier and Push in that list, it's really close, and I'm on the Push should be 35 to 40 points train.
Okay. Every clone player right now just puckered up a little bit. Good God, no.
How to nerf Blizzard Force make Push 40 points.
Right.
You're not wrong. We've got no time for developing that, but Mike with a one fell swoop just changed that 1 to a 4 and done.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we did not post your mailing address just yet, and maybe we'll hold off on that in case that actually becomes a thing.
No hate mail, please.
Yeah, that would be that's Mike with an E at the end. Wow, 40 point upgrades. Oh, this makes
that sounds like an AMG nerf. You target one thing, but you neuter everyone else and leave them okay.
I think you might anger many factions if you did that to Push. So
Let me ask you this: do you think what's worth more, 5s or Force Push?
Oh, Force Push, 100%.
yeah, well, I mean, fives is quite reasonably priced. Like, what is he, like 40 points?
40 points.
Yeah, he's good, but he's got, what has he got? 2 health, 3 health?
2.
He's got 2 health.
He's good. He's good.
It's that courage one. Gotta
Not
stop
when
that
you make
panic.
Not when you make him the hostage carrier. That's the trick, right? That's the low key buff to 5s. You just put him
Courage,
as a hostage
yeah,
carrier.
Courage 4 5s.
Yeah.
Just put him as a hostage carrier. So, oh, fantastic. All right, well, I'll put this up one more time, and then if we'll take any more questions, if not, we're gonna wrap it up. So, Graham, while we're waiting, if we got anybody else, how many games you got in for the league?
Just finished my 3rd one yesterday.
Okay.
Oh, man, he's ahead of me.
Oh, and I meant to cycle around to Mike. Mike, what have you been doing? You've hardly been playing any Legions, so get all those league games in.
I've been traveling, so I haven't been able to get any league games in, unfortunately. I am playing Rex 501st, though.
Okay.
So it's basically take Anakin out and put Rex and Clone Commander in. So.
Well, I think you got better. I think you got more than 3 weeks, so hopefully you can squeeze in some games in there. So, yeah. You were telling me pre-show you got home like what, less than 48 hours, and then off again to another Legion event.
Yeah, I went to Golden Sprue this weekend, and I was gonna bring 501st, and I literally left it on my kitchen table on accident, and we got to the event, and it wasn't with us. Obviously, we drove, and I was like, oh well, this isn't good. So I ended up playing Evan Bullers's Krennic boss list from PAX, which was kind of like a, I don't know. Like a step back in time a little bit. It was like Krennic, Bosk, double Death Troopers, triple Shore Troopers, triple Mortars.
Nice.
And I was just like, I haven't played a list without Force Push in it in probably 2 years.
Right.
At least with like a competitive event. Yeah. It was fun playing Bosk again. He's still really good. You know, you just gotta manage his range bands properly, and it was cool to have a character where you had to do that. I forgot how fun that was, to be quite honest. You don't really have anything like that in Republic, or that's like super competitive right now, I feel like. So
nice.
I had a ton of fun.
How big was that event?
I think it was 36 people. I think.
Oh, that's pretty good.
36 signed up. I think 34 showed up. You know, the Buffalo crew with like Luke Cook and Chris Cook and them came out, so that was good. And it was, I think the unofficial name for it was the like Nick Bodner Appreciation Tournament or something.
Okay.
And Nick ended up winning the whole thing. So
that's good for him.
Yeah.
Fantastic. What was Nick?
Wait. Nick wins the tournament named after himself. Rigged.
Right. That was the joke for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%
rigged. Nick was playing a Cassian Rebel Boba
Ooh.
K2 He had another hero in there, I think. There was 4 heroes in it.
That's a lot of named characters.
It was a lot of named characters. For sure. Oh, it was Lando. He had Lando in it for the contingencies.
I was gonna say the command card hand or the command hand would have been tough choices, but less tough when you got to contingencies, I guess. So.
Yeah, and he had like 1 FD, I think 2 vets, 2 Mark IIs. I think that's pretty much the list. Yeah, it was pretty good. I played him round 3 or round 4, I think. And I just, he had a lot of Pierce against my red save, no impervious, no way to mitigate any Pierce damage list. So.
Yeah, I just got pretty wrecked by some Pierce. Well, I mean, it was an MOV game, but like the Pierce was just like, it was just crazy. So it was like I played against the Sabine, IG. What else was in the list? Sabine,
80,
IG,
or 11, yeah.
Oh yeah, IG 11, yeah, IG 11.
Yeah, a lot of Pierce.
It was pretty gross. That IG 11 just like double tapping with Pierce 2 is just and Han was in there too. Sorry, I knew there was one other character. So again, another just double tapping you with Pierce is just, yeah. Once that got up and close, it was not nice. So Pierce might be another thing to Pierce coupled with sharpshooter, real good.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's just that might be one of the best combos out there. So keyword combos anyway. So yeah, real good. So crazy. All right, well that puts us at the time. That's probably I think we've covered a lot of ground tonight. We caught up with Mike, who's coming off that like a second place finish at LVO, which is fantastic. Made probably, I'm going to credit at least 3 501st sales to you, Mike, unofficially, but just somewhere in the region. I'm going to guess that I don't know if that will translate into any dollars for you, probably not. But if I had any power, I would at least kick you a commission off those 3 sets. So
thanks. Yeah. GAR chat's been nothing but 501st since LVO. So.
Oh, very good. Awesome. Yeah. Graham, I'm going to credit no sales of Bosk since you just poo-pooed on his non-upgrade of scale. So Bosks are
I might go back
on...
to my PAL IG-11 Bosk list next round. I don't know.
Yeah, well, after the ringing endorsement you gave Bosk, I don't think anybody else.
Oh no,
is,
I just
so
thought
you're solo on that, buddy.
Yeah.
Jace, we're going to credit some Lord of the Rings sales, even though that's not what we're promoting here at all. Yeah, and I didn't promote a single thing other than maybe Kellogg's at the start. So if you're walking,
Sean waffled 4 different lists.
That is true. So maybe double Kellogg's, right? We got Kellogg's Eggos, and we got which also basically are a waffle, and and Tony the Tiger Frosted Flakes, which I might go eat for supper because I'm lazy and probably won't cook anything else. So that's the credit I'm getting tonight. So Mike, we'll see you. If we don't see you in the digital realm, I guess I will see you in Chicago. I'll be the guy that looks like me. You'll be the guy that looks like you. Hopefully I don't see you on the table. And if I do,
we'll see. It would be cool to get a game in for sure. Like it'll be
day 3.
I always enjoy playing people that haven't played on the tabletop before.
Yeah,
so.
Day 3 though. Just don't be cutting me out of day 1. So as much as I want to go do those Onslaught D&D demos that I signed up for. So or is it Onslaught? Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
You're not gonna do Shatterpoint?
Yeah, no. I will walk by. I'm sure it'll look cool, all the things, but no, I have too much unpainted Legion for me to possibly buy miniatures that are larger. So I can go the other way. Painting smaller miniatures is good, but and Big Jace won't like it if I get in Shatterpoint because then he will never be able to paint a single of his own Legion mini. So there's that problem as well. So no, but I'm looking forward to getting there and seeing all the people that I haven't seen in a long time and people that I've never met, but that I've met. Post-COVID, there's still that world too. It's crazy how many people I didn't know pre-COVID that I will now get to meet and interact with, which is all good. So, did you kind of get that vibe, Mike, as well at LVO that people were just really excited to just be at a big thing?
Yeah, for sure. It was just really cool to see. I mean, there was people I haven't seen in 4 years basically, and it was really it was really cool to just, hang out and have fun in a way that we haven't really been able to do that in our community. I mean, obviously we've had a couple of big tournaments, but LVO is just a lot of people. So
right. Yep. I'm looking forward to that. That aspect as well. So, okay. Well, thanks for calling in, Graham, and giving us a rendition of that, how that game went. I'm sure Nick was pretty stoked about that, and because he's an East Coaster, of course, that's also good. So, you're pseudo Canadian, but you're not East Coast Canadian. So, like that's for me as an upper level Canadian right there. So,
I was born outside Vancouver, raised outside Toronto.
Literally your mainlander then, so
yeah.
You didn't
not
move
Atlantic.
that far. You're closer to the Atlantic now, though, I'd say, right?
Yeah, I'm like 15 minutes.
Yeah, you're getting there. So just go a little north, like quite north, and to the east, you'll be an East Coaster. So awesome. Oh, Pally's in just now. He's homesick, able to catch the very end, which is fantastic. Pally will go back and listen to all that and give us his hot takes. So. Pally, definitely a fellow clone player. We'll be excited to hear all things clone related, and maybe we'll be repping some clones at Worlds as well. I feel it's a safe bet for Pally. So, we'll see. We'll see how influential you were, Mike, in terms of the Worlds meta. See how many people are going to try to make a run at it with clones. So, I will leave us with this because we didn't touch predictions. But give me a split. We'll start with you, Mike. Give me a split of factions. Maybe we'll just go from what's going to be the most represented and what is going to be the least represented, and maybe one's a safer choice than the other. But
I think it's going to go Empire, Republic, Separatist, Shadow Collective, Rebels.
Okay, so you're putting GAR in slot 2.
I'm putting GAR in slot 2. I think if Blizzard Force didn't exist, GAR would be the best faction, and I don't think it's super close.
Okay, and CIS is in the middle, which I'm pretty happy to say, because that, to me, that is the middle of 5, which is average. That's probably where I'll be. Okay, fair enough. Okay, Graham, you give us your breakdown. Knowing that you'll 100% dispute Mike if you don't agree with that breakdown there. So no rebuttals though.
I think the only difference for me is I think Shadow Collective will be the least repped. I think Rebels will be 4th.
Okay, Rebels.
I think
4th.
Empire's gonna be like 45%.
Okay. Jace.
A lot of people.
I'd go Empire, CIS, GAR, Shadow Collective, Rebels.
Okay, GAR moves down to slot 2. Okay.
I'm basically just swapping CIS and GAR.
Okay. Sean glances at Case. Yep, got a painted GAR army. Good. Want to stay in middle. I don't know. I don't want to say GAR. I think clones will be in the middle too. Not to be suggestive that I know more than anything, but I think it's going to be pretty darn close on CIS and GAR 2. I'm waffling even on this choice here. I do agree that I think that Shadow Collective will be on the bottom. I think Rebels might just pass them in slot 4, so I go against you, Graham, there. Empire will be the top, and I think that your breakdown of 45% might be pretty good, with 97% of those being Blizzard Force.
I really hope not. That would be miserable.
45.
I understand. Yeah, I just don't. That's not a tournament I want to play in. I don't know. I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer. I just
no. I mean, and I don't even think it is, right. If it could be a potential reality, I think us saying that, hey, it could be a reality is not really being down on it at all, right? That's like just that just might be a straight fact. If there's versatility amongst those Empire, because I think right now you're either kind of a double bounty or you're a Blizzard Force in Empire. Like you're not seeing a lot of really anything else. But I don't know if Dark Troopers coming in will mix it up a little bit. I don't know if we've seen the Dave Grant's 6 activation list. Does that maybe people shake it up a little bit? I don't think it shakes it up in terms of like people would suddenly switch over to playing that. But I do think that those kind of like outliers do maybe make people take another look at what they're bringing in terms of like, I might need to be a little bit more versatile in what I can face on the other side of the table. But you know, right now, I'll be honest, I'm a lot of like, how do I face Blizzard Force? Like I'm anticipating like every Empire list I'm facing in my mind, it's got to be a Blizzard Force list. I'm also hoping that's not the situation. So, but yeah, I guess we only got about 45 days to figure that out, and we'll see. But yeah, let's hope for some versatility there. And if we see lots more clones, that's probably good for the clone faction as a whole, right? That people will kind of maybe start giving them a second look and taking another glance at clones, because I think they're an interesting faction. I just think they've been kind of boot stomped a few times with some of the new drops, and then I think popular opinion has kind of driven them maybe down artificially versus what they can actually do on the tabletop. So yeah, okay. Pally says, as a Rex man, Dark Troopers are a problem.
Everything's a problem for Rex, so.
Okay, yeah. Awesome. We'll leave that hot take right there just to simmer with absolutely no possibility for Pally to refute, and we'll just let him, hopefully Pally comes in from the streets now that he's out there just raging. So, but he does say it's true, so Mike's not wrong there. So, all right, well, thanks for calling in, Graham. Mike, thanks for coming in and chatting with us and talking, Asajj and LVO and giving us your takes on that stuff. I agree with much of what has been said there. And if you, in your spare time, if you want to get that Adobe Illustrator update and get in, start editing those PDF files on your free time, that'd be fantastic. So,
yeah, I'm always around. Awesome to hang out.
Okay, cheers. All right, have a good night, everyone. We'll catch you guys on Friday. Cheers.
Cheers.